Hello, hello, hello. It is Saturday morning. We are about to go into the studio. Well, I say we, just me. Well, you're coming with me, I guess. We're going into the studio. I am starting recording my new season of Red Room, which is going to be for Spotify. Very excited. And it's going to be a video series, so it'll be available on video on Spotify and YouTube. So it's going to be on this YouTube channel. Again, if you only like vlogs, you don't have to watch it. But I just, do you know what? I just like to simplify things. I don't like, I was contemplating like, okay, will I, will I put on, like, because I do have a Red Room YouTube channel. But you know what? I just couldn't be arsed with the, like, getting subscribers over there. Like, I just think it's easier to just put everything on the one, and you know, it's optional to watch. So it's all going on the one YouTube channel, but very excited. I was working all day yesterday and the day before. I'm getting 2 episodes done today. I think 2 episodes a day for now is realistic, just in terms of having to actually write the episodes, have them done on time. And I find, like, sometimes you think you can do like 3 or 4 in a day if you're doing like constant recording, but you wear out and you're just not as good on camera after a few, and your words start to get all muddled. Like, sometimes even excuse me, even if I'm doing like a big episode, like an hour-and-a-half episode, towards the end of the episode I'm making loads of mistakes, and like it just makes the editing process a little bit grueling. So I think 2 a day is good, but I'm going to be working, I'd say I'm going to be away for 1 weekend in February, so I'd say most weekends in February I am going to be doing, or most weeks I'm going to be doing 6-day weeks, which is grand. And I've done 6-day weeks for every week in January. I'm just trying to get them back to back to back, and it's kind of the only way, it's actually the only way I can get it done, to be honest, which is grand. Again, I don't mind it, and I'm lucky to be able to have a studio space to use. Kettle's going, sorry. Anyway, I thought I'd bring you in and maybe we could do a little bit of BTS, because I don't get too much BTS done with the podcast, because to be honest, like, it's not that much to be showing. But this is a little bit more interesting, because I'm going to be setting up, like, I mean, I say a mini set, and we're going to be videoing it, and everything else. Like, people have asked me for like BTS of like actually putting the whole podcast together, and like, it's just, I don't know, like, because it's just me on a laptop following links. Like, I have a method, but like, it's not that interesting to watch, I don't think. But this is a little bit more interesting, I guess, because we will be filming it, and sure, look, we'll see what else I get done. I just thought, like, again, this is like what I was saying last week. The next while it'll be hard to vlog, because I'm going to be just working most days of the week. So, also this week, I didn't vlog it, but this week I went on Keelan Moncrief's podcast. So I'm sure a lot of you guys watch her YouTube here, Keemon. She is a little angel, and I got to meet her baby. Oh my god, such an angel. So fucking cute, and oh, she's just a lovely girl. Her and Emer are both so nice. I'd never met Emer before. We follow each other online though. So I'll link that below. You can go listen to it, because it's just like a fun little chat. We just chit chat, and their podcast is great. They've such a nice energy and like such a good rapport with each other, and they're really funny, and they don't take themselves too seriously. So you can go listen to that if you want to. But now I've got to hit the road and get into town. Are my hands different colours? I feel they are. My hands are definitely different colour to my face anyway. My tan, that's one thing I did not get done on time for this filming, is my tan. So I had to put like fucking what's it called, bronzer. How cool is this top, by the way? It's like half and half, and it's a zip. I got it from And Other Stories. My full outfit is actually And Other Stories today, except for my boots. I love that shop. Might go in today for a little browse. But anyway, okay, got my coffee. We have to hit the road now, ASAP. I also have so much makeup on, and I have so much gear with me, which I hate. I hate having loads of shit. Do you know that feeling? Like, I hate like carrying loads of shit. So annoying.
Roll it out. You want to look at that one? It's 2 of them.
Which one do you think?
Like what you could do is like you could use one of those like you could use that and you could like light it like.
In the middle of setting up. What you see when you see the podcast. Okay, I think we've built our set. Well, Evan has helped and done pretty much all of it. He's very good at these kind of things. So these are all the layers. It's funny, like when it's all separate, you don't see it as much. Got these two blackout things. Then over here, my script and my teleprompter. Here it looks like that, but on the camera, it looks really good. It looks very cool. Coming to YouTube very, well, hopefully very soon. At least in the next month. Yeah, so I got both my podcasts done and now we're gonna shoot, a little bit of video content just so I can make like a reel and stuff to promote this. But I think the episodes are gonna be really good. I think you're gonna really like them. I'm excited to edit them and finalize them, but I think the set looked really cool. And now Evan's gonna help me shoot a little bit of video content. So, be right back. Okay, we're done. I'm going to, of course, the Asian market. Look, they've got all their lights up because it is the Lunar New Year. But anyway, I'm gonna go in here and buy some stuff for dinner. So not much of a haul. Probably the lighting's better this way, yeah. Not much of a haul was to be had. Only got the essentials. Got bulgogi sauce, Evan has that somewhere. Bag of kimchi, because I'm gonna make my kimchi stew tomorrow. Got a bag of rice, or box of rice. Beef ribeye, they're in, it's like really thinly sliced. And this is what you make. You can make bulgogi, but like I make bulgogi before. I've made it with just a steak chopped up, but it's really nice with this. So you just marinate this. I just buy the store-bought sauce. And oh, did I show you this? No, I didn't. I put it on Instagram. So you would have seen, most places would have seen, and you actually, if you saw my YouTube short, I did a YouTube short in it. Korean table and Stony Batter, oh my God. And Vivian, who owns it, makes her own kimchi and she sells it. And this kimchi is like, when you have this kimchi, hello. Hey, down. When you eat this kimchi, it makes you feel like you've never eaten kimchi before. Like it made me be like, oh, that's what kimchi should taste like. So I'll have some of this with the bulgogi. Here's our bulgogi sauce. So this is actually a spicy bulgogi. Usually I get the regular one, but they didn't have any of it. And Evan, the other night when we were at Korean table, had spicy bulgogi. So we're gonna try the spicy version. Yum. There's nothing quite like a hobnob to get you going. Let's sit down and catch up. Hi everyone. So, since you've seen me last, since I was, I believe, in the Asian market. Hello, coming from the editing booth. I'm just gonna say it right now, we're just gonna address it. There is a bit of chocolate on the side of my mouth. And yes, it stays there for the whole video. I'm so sorry. I can't see myself on that little tiny screen very well, guys, okay? So let's just address it and move on. Okay, back to the video. I have just been working non-stop. It has been so busy trying to get this public video series of Red Room ready. And I'm so excited about it. And it's one of those things that it's a piece of work of mine that no matter how well it does, I'm so proud of it. Like, I think it fucking looks slick, and I think it, like, I really just don't see, as far as I'm aware anyway, I don't have, I'm not aware of anyone else doing what I'm creating. Now look, I'm not reinventing the wheel, okay? But in terms of production quality and I think actual content as well, I have to record 3 episodes tomorrow. I thought it would take me longer. I thought like recording would take it out of me, but because it's pretty much fully scripted, like it's scripted as in like it's almost like a video essay kind of format, and like it still sounds like a podcast, totally listenable, but like it's not so much off the cuff as my other podcasts would be at times, because it just doesn't really allow for that, and I can just get real blabbery and, you know, you're talking shite for half the time. So I wanted to keep these are around 30 minutes long. I will still be vlogging. You're not gonna like, it's not, the channel's not changing is what I'm saying. It's just additional stuff, and it's going to be on Spotify in video format too. So I'm very excited. Anyway, I have been working straight through since then. As I said, literally team no days off, which kills me. Like, I am not a hustle culture person, but I need to hustle on this, and it's something that, like, one of my goals for 2023 was like to, because I'm very much aware that I'm a very good ideas person. I have really good ideas, and I'm not just being like blowing my own horn there, but like I'm really good at thinking of ideas for podcasts, for content, all of these things. I'm not great at execution, whether it be time or prioritizing or just laziness or procrastination. Like, I don't always execute it. So when I had this idea, I just wanted to be like, I'm fucking executing this. I'm doing it myself. Obviously, Evan's helping me so much with like the set, and like I use a studio to put it all together. But like, it's fully me. Like, I'm not having like, I don't have researchers, I don't have co-writers, none of that. I would love someone, that would be a huge goal of mine by the end of the year, is to be able to hire someone part-time to be able to assist me with the podcast, like in terms of production. But I don't have any of that. So, you know, it is all me, and I just wanted to do it. So I am fucking breaking my balls trying to get pretty much all of it filmed by the end of February. I wasn't able to afford an editor this time around because I don't have a sponsor or anything for it. Maybe I will in the future, but I can't afford to pay someone to edit. Like, it would be like 10 episodes worth, like long form. It would end up really fucking expensive, and it would just be coming out of pocket. So I'm doing it myself, and I'm actually really enjoying it because I'm learning a lot about Final Cut Pro. Like, I use Final Cut Pro to edit my vlogs, but I don't use it to its full capacity because I do very simple editing over here on YouTube. So anyway, that's the update on that. I am going on a very exciting trip next week, and this is another reason why I've been working so much, because my weekend is gone next week. I'm going to New York. I'm so excited. I'm going over on my own. I'm going for my best friend Devin's birthday. So I really hope I can vlog over there. I can't promise anything because I'm literally there for a flying visit. Like, I get in on Thursday, I leave Sunday night. But I'm buzzing for it. Really can't wait. Can't wait to see him and a lot of my other friends over there who I haven't seen in a really long time. So I'm very excited. But anyway, what I wanted to do today is I just posted a reel on my Instagram reviewing excuse me, I've got such a frog in my throat today. I reviewed Crossroads by Jonathan Franzen in a very light, obviously 90 seconds way, but I thought I would do, and we could do this maybe once a month over here, is my month in books. So I really wanted to challenge myself again this year. Hi, Elle. I really wanted to challenge myself this year to get back into reading for pleasure, because I read so much for work. Like, so much of my job is reading that I just completely, okay, you need to chill. So yeah, I really wanted to just get back into reading because I love reading. I've always loved reading. I was always a big bookworm when I was a kid, and I just had completely stopped it. So in my mind, I was like, let's try read 1 book a month. And last month I read 4 books. So I've set myself a goal on Goodreads. So you can follow me on Goodreads if you want. If you don't know what Goodreads is, it's such a good app. I fucking love it. I used to use it years ago. I completely forgot about it, and then I got back into it, and I can see all the books I read back in the day, which is funny as well. But anyway, it is an app where you pretty much track what you read, track the books that you read, you review them, and it also will suggest books for you based on your reviews, and it will show you the people that you follow, what they're reading and what they think of it. It's actually so good because books are a hard one, you know, it's all word of mouth. So I thought we would run through my books. I'm not going to give I set myself a goal of reading 40 books on Goodreads, so we'll see if I can reach that. I'm on track, I'll have you know. So we will see. I think I need to read about 4 books a month, which to be honest seems really doable now that I did it last month. And I only started reading in the middle of January, and I read, within that was Jonathan Franzen's book, which took me it took me about 10 days to read, but it's like a big book. So we're going to run through the 4 books that I read last month. And I'm going to give you a review and like let you know kind of what the book's about. I'm not going to give spoilers though, because I don't know, like it's hard on a video, like I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but so anything I do say, even if it is about the plot, it's not like, you know, it's probably going to be revealed to you in the first like few pages, do you know what I mean? But yeah, I'll also put them in chapters. You'll see down below if you hover over the play thingy, the scrolly thing, whatever that's called, you'll be able to see where I start about each book. So if you're reading one and you really don't want to know anything about it, you can always skip. So book number 1 was a book by my friend Taya. You might remember her. She came on the podcast, on my last podcast, talking about her first book, which was Life of the Party, and this is her second novel. It's called A Cigarette Lit Backwards, and it's a great book. I really enjoyed it. It was a perfect book to kind of get me back into reading as well. I don't mean this in an offensive way to you, Jay, or anything, but it's a real easy read. You know, it's not like you're not like rereading sentences, which it isn't a bad thing when a book is like that, but it just wasn't what I wanted. I wanted something that was just enjoyable and entertaining and funny, and it was that. So the book follows Kat, who is the lead character, and it's set in North Carolina, excuse me, in Chapel Hill, which is where Tay is from. And Tay's writing is usually self-referential and semi-autobiographical. Life of the Party was as well. So there is that. And if you read Tay's blog back in the day, you will probably notice some consistencies. So it's about Kat, who is like a young punk growing up in Chapel Hill, and she's real desperate for everyone to like her, and it's just that teenage vibe, right? Like it's like you want everyone to like you, you're insecure, the cool kids that you're trying to fit in with are just so much cooler than you, you're kind of nerdy. Like I resonated with that so much, like being a little bit nerdy and like not being able to do all of the things that the cool kids did. So you kind of resent your parents for it, because you're like, for fuck's sake, if I was allowed to stay out till 6 a.m, then I'd be cool. But like as an adult, you look back on that and you're like, duh, like of course my parents would let me do that, you know? So there's loads of that in it. There's a lot of music references, which if you're my age, I mean, she's very much into like late 80s, early 90s punk music, but there's a lot of references as well to like the bands like the Strokes and everything kind of, and also just like cultural references of like, I think it's set in around 2004, 2006. And if you're like my age, you were a teenager then. So you kind of, it's funny now being of the age where like our teenage years can be referenced in that way. Do you know what I mean? And for it to be, nostalgic. But like even if you're younger or older, I mean there's just that like teenage experience that I think anyone can kind of relate to, especially if you're a girl. Again, it's a female lead character written by a female, so I know some people really enjoy that. And because I get it, like some men are just so bad at writing women. Tay's book it's really, really great. It'd be a great one to bring on holidays, like you'd fly through it. I read it in a weekend. It's just a real like sit down and read it in one sitting. Same with her first book. She has very compulsive writing. Like you want to know what's going to happen. You want to follow the character, but like it's a page turner. Like you're very committed to the character in it, which I loved. I loved it. So yeah, that was the first book. Second book, I just put up a little review on Instagram for, but I'm going to go into more detail here because there is a lot more to say about this book, and it's Jonathan Franzen's Crossroads. So if you followed me for any period of time on here, I'm sure you know, or if you, it might have, like, some people message me, they're like, oh, I love your book recommendations, and I'm like, God, I don't even remember doing them before, but I always say one of my favourite books ever is Freedom by Jonathan Franzen. I read it 10 years ago, I think that's when it came out, or in and around that time, and it's just an incredible novel. What I look for in a book is strong characters. I'm not too concerned with plot. I know that sounds weird, but I like to get to know a character's brain. I like to know their psyche. I like to know their mind, their thoughts, and their reasons for doing things. I don't really care what they do. I'm the same with movies. Like people will be like, what happens in this movie if I love it? And I'm like, nothing really, but like the characters are cool, or like they're really interesting, or they're really dark. Like that's what I enjoy. And I think if you enjoy that as well, you'll get what I mean. Jonathan Franzen is known as an incredible character writer. His characters, they like jump out the page at you. It's hard to kind of put into words. Like, you're so invested in them, but you don't even like them all. So Freedom is based on this family. A lot of his books are also like kind of about like banal, what's it called? The banal Midwest in America. Like, it's not like set in like New York City. Some of his books I think are more like city, but I think his best work is when he's like setting it in like the Midwest, in like some shithole basically, or a very normal place with a normal family, like lower middle class, etc., etc. So Freedom is that. So that's why. So Freedom is his first novel that is like that. The Corrections kind of as well, but Freedom more so is this like quintessential Franzen novel, right? Where it follows a family, and every single chapter is told by a different character in the family. Now this book, Crossroads, is very similar. It gave me the vibe of Freedom, but not in a way where I was like, oh, here we go, Freedom Part 2. Like, not at all. It was like every single year that has passed since that book and this book coming out, he has honed his craft. Like, I thought it was just so beautifully written. The prose in it was beautiful. You spend the entire book in someone's inner monologue, inner dialogue in their head, right? Most of the book takes part on one night, which is like a couple of days before Christmas, and in 1971, by the way, it's set in the 70s. So the family you're following are the Hildebrandts. They are a religious family, but they're kind of a religious family in the sense of like, I don't know if you're familiar with the new wave Christians of the 70s, where they were kind of like hippie, free love, and very progressive, but they were Christians. So they're kind of like that. The dad is more, he grew up very like strict Christian. The mom is more born again. And the kids are all kind of navigating their own thoughts and beliefs around religion throughout the whole book. It's called Crossroads for two reasons, because it's basically centered around this youth group in the church that's called Crossroads, but also every single character in the book is at a crossroads in their life. They're all like having to choose one way or the other. Do I stay? Do I go? Do I try and prove myself? Do I not? Do I commit my life to this or that? Like, it's very much, they're all at a fork in the road, and it's done so well. Like, it's funny because every chapter is told by a different voice. Like, you'll find yourself in a chapter like so bought into one character, and you're kind of coming to the end of the chapter and you're like, oh no, I really don't want to not know about them. And then you kind of start the next chapter and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, I wish I was back at her chapter. But like literally one page in, you're like sold. Like, the way he writes characters is just so incredible. His books, like, they read as movies in my mind. Like, they're very visual. They're like, you can see it as a movie. You can see it as a TV series. You can see the characters, even though he doesn't really go in that much on like physical like descriptions. Like, you're not like, Jonathan is tall with brown hair. Like, the character whose head you're in at the time, like, there'll be references as in like, she's known as beautiful, or she's insecure about her weight, but like, it's very much led up to you as to what the character looks like, which I really enjoy, but they're still so visual. It's incredible. As I said, most of the book, it all happens on one night, but within the chapters, you're kind of recalling their past. So it's not just like what's it, Ulysses or something like that. It's more like it's all on one night, but because they're all going through their own dilemmas, they think back on their life, they think back on different things that happened to them. Oh, it's just an incredible read. I would really recommend anyone to read it. It is a really long book, so it's not really a beginner's book. And Jonathan Franzen, as I said, like his books are big, as in like it's thick, but it's also like, it's not like a normal book that's like this size, it's like this size. And it's like that thick. And the pages, like, it's like you even open the book and it's like rammed with words. So like you do need to be a committed reader, I guess. But like, you know, it's not like fucking... It's not Ulysses, you know, you're not like, oh my god, what's going on in this book at all ever. So that book is like, if you love a kind of vintage 70s vibe, if you love like Mad Men, I know it's in the 60s, but similar kind of energy. I always think that for some reason I always kind of draw a parallel between Jonathan Franzen and David Lynch, because they're both really obsessed with like the banalities of like how normal life can be very strange. So I really enjoyed that. But yeah, it has those vintage vibes, but it also is so relatable. Like I obviously didn't grow up in the 70s, and like all the characters in it, like you kind of hated the characters a lot as well. I'm not going to say who I hated the most or loved the most, but like some of the characters you are just like, you are fucking enraged at, you know. But then you go through this roller coaster. Sometimes you're like, oh my god, I hate them, and then you're like, oh, I feel bad for them. It's just, that's how well written it is. Then I read Hollywood Babylon by Kenneth Anger. So again, Adam told me to read this. He was like, have you ever heard of Hollywood Babylon? And I was like, no. And then I went to buy it, and I was like, oh my god, it's by Kenneth Anger, who is a filmmaker, and he would be like, a lot of like Marilyn Manson's very into him, David Lynch would have known a lot about him, underground filmmaker. He made some really strange art house movies. Very cool guy. Some people probably think he's not cool, I don't know. I'm just fascinated with people like that. We'll be talking about him in an upcoming episode on the new Red Room series, actually, by coincidence as well. So Hollywood Babylon, it's non-fiction, but it's fiction. It is a book of, I don't want to say short stories, because it's not like that. It's almost written like a tabloid, but like purposely tongue-in-cheek. And it is about old Hollywood. So it kind of runs through from the silent movie days all the way up to kind of the end of Hollywood, which he categorizes as like the death of Sharon Tate. And each chapter is like a different scandal in Hollywood. So this is just like, this would be such a good holiday read, because you're just like, it's not trashy though. Like, and any elements that are trashy are purposely trashy. Like, it's very self-aware. But the stories are so amazing, and like they're true. Like, there's obviously definitely some very colorful ways of describing them. I'm sure there's a lot of artistic license, but it is a really, really, really great book. If you're into old Hollywood, if you are into like rock and roll history, even anything like that, you'd love it. And I think, I don't know, but like I saw that there's a movie out now with Margot Robbie called Babylon, and it's about the 1920s in Hollywood. I'm pretty sure it must be based on some degree on this book. So I'm having a lot of synchronicities with this book at the moment, because as I said, he came up in an episode I'm talking about in the next few weeks. So yeah, it's a great book. Really, really great. Again, would be a good one if you're trying to get back into reading, because it's not hard to read at all. You eat it up. You can flick in and out of chapters. Like, it's not a cohesive storyline really. There's some parts that reference back, but it doesn't really matter. You could read one story once and then like flick through to ones that are more interested to you. Like, it's really, really great. So the final book that I read in January was After Dark by Haruki Murakami. Oh, I love this book. So Murakami he's a Japanese writer. I've read one of his novels. I've read Norwegian Wood, which is probably his most famous, I guess. I'd say that will be his most famous novel, next to like Kafka on the Shore. Be a toss-up between the two of them. his books are like if David Lynch was set in Tokyo. So all of his novels are set in Tokyo or Japan. I think they're all in Tokyo anyway, but the ones that I've read anyway are both in Tokyo, okay? And, how would I describe his books? Again, his characters are strong, but they're not in a Jonathan Franzen way. Like, Jonathan Franzen's characters could be in the room with you, they're so real. His characters are more mysterious. Like, you look at them you're not in their head. You're, especially in this book and After Dark, his characters are very intriguing, but you're not in their head. You don't really get to know them that well, but it's purposeful. Well, that's what I think anyway. There's a real level of mystery and mystique around his characters. So After Dark is a book that is based all on one night. It's all in one night. And it's basically after dark in this one night in Tokyo. So it follows one girl called Mari, and she is basically kind of staying out all night, just with her parents not knowing. And you don't really know why she's doing this. She's like reading a book. She's in like Denny's in like a diner, and she runs into a guy who knows her friend, a guy who knows her sister, and they just kind of have this night together, but like not in a romantic night. Like they just kind of make friends, but you find out about her, you find out about her life. You meet all these different weird characters, but the essence of the book is basically what happens at nighttime, what happens people at the darkest parts of the night, what happens people when they think no one is watching, and also some of the darkest parts of the human experience. There's some really weird chapters in it that there's a strange perspective, like he talks as if he's a movie camera looking at things, so that is a little bit more experimental. But I loved it. It's an amazing book. If I was to read one, I would read Norwegian Wood before this, because it has a similar energy, but this is a little bit more, you don't really know what's going on for the first two chapters, really. It's a bit confusing, but I loved it. It had a really great vibe, it had a cool energy, and it kind of read like a movie, like an experimental movie. Okay, my battery pack is flashing at me, and we've been talking for half an hour. Guys, I will be back very soon. I will be vlogging still, as I said. Make sure to subscribe, okay? And I'll see you all soon. Bye!